Thanks for joining us on Behind the Spotlight. I am Crystal Lampett, and I am very pleased to have an angry Russian punk band. Is that how you would describe yourselves?
Pretty much, yes.
You're like the least angry Russian punk rock band I think I've ever met.
We're trying to be polite. So,
On the contrary, Nuthatch 47, great group of guys. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having us.
I want to give everyone kind of a taste of your sound. So what are we kicking it off with?
We're going to play a song called Stockings. Again, thank you for having us. In Mother Russia, TV watches you, but I'm glad we're able to turn it around a little bit in Kansas City. So we're ready whenever.
Lots of Kansas Cityans watching you tonight. Thank you guys so much for being here. This is Nuthatch 47. Take it away, guys.
Thank you.
My baby by her stockings, by menthol, Sauvignon and Cabernet. Still at the stop while she is walking. She always tells me that I had never yet heard her again. Still at the stop while she is walking. She always tells me that I had never yet. I want more time. I recognize my baby by her stockings, by menthol, Sauvignon and Cabernet. Yeah, she'll at the stop while she is walking. She always tells me that I had never yet. I never yet. Still at the stop while she is walking. She always tells me that I had never yet. The 50 shades of burgundy of roses will guarantee a smile on her face. But I had better not get any closer, or she will disappear with no trace, with no trace. But I had better not get any closer, or she will disappear with no trace. Come on, solo you. Why did you disregard my gentle soul? Why did you keep it shank me in my chest? Oh, you better leave and I'll go. And leave me all alone and so distressed, oh so distressed. You better leave and I'll go. And leave me all alone and so distressed. Я милого узнаю, ай по походке. Он носит брючки до галифе. А шляпу он носит на Панаму, ботиночки он носит на ремонт, а шляпу он носит на Панаму, ботиночки он носит на ремонт.
And that was Stockings by Nuthatch 47. And as I was mentioning, you guys describe yourselves as, very angry Russians, but on the contrary, you're maybe my favorite band already because you are very hospitable and brought us treats.
It's a tradition. Usually when we get invited to be guests, we don't come empty-handed.
Anybody? So, well, that's such that's wonderful. Anyone? It's just like you go to a housewarming party and you bring them a bottle of wine. Except, of course, because you're Russian, you brought us vodka.
And tea. It's like
vodka and tea. So it just depends. Yeah. Tell us what we have here. So these are pickled
tomatoes. So there's like two sets of food. Groups, naughty and nice, I would say, right? Like
these are the Russian food groups.
Something you can eat with vodka, so you can chase it with like a little bit of sausage made in Moscow, made out of meat.
Made out of meat. We don't even know. It's pork, beef,
it has
pork
a
and beef.
Yeah. Ah, cool. All right, that's good. Those are good animals.
Those are great animals to
And
eat.
you can have a little bit of pickled tomatoes if you're careful, because they kind of tend to explode and spill a little bit.
Yeah, not when you're wearing white, maybe.
Probably not. Yeah. And then on the nice side, you can have some candies, which are called bird's milk. And
So these bird's milk candies, I'm going to try one.
you know, people say
Is
that.
there something I should know about the inside of these?
Honestly, they probably taste like bird's milk, but I never had a bird's milk before.
Oh,
so
it's caramel. Oh, no, it's not.
It's like souffle, right? So I
What
don't know
is
what kind
this?
of bird produces this type of candy,
So
but
have we decided whether birds have teats or not?
you know, they probably do, right?
This is taken from a bird
It reminds me of that movie where Robert De Niro was trying to milk his,
milk a cat?
Yeah, milk a
From
cat. Yeah,
Meet the
or-
Parents?
Yeah, that's the one.
So
Yep.
this is somebody milked a bird and produced these lovely chocolates, which you guys brought in for us.
Speaking
Thank you.
of milk, actually, you're welcome. Speaking of milk, those cookies are called cow. And
These are cow cookies.
Yeah,
I'm going to
so-
feast on these while you guys take a little commercial break, but we'll be right back. Don't worry, I'll let you know what I think.
Molly's rockin' away, Molly's rockin' away. Oh, the rage. Get that truck out of my way.
And we're back with Nuthatch 47, and they are sharing their traditional treats with us. Of course, vodka, very traditionally Russian.
yeah,
And you brought your very own KC brand vodka today.
Casey vodka with the pleasant face of the bird.
I am curious, though, which vodka is your favorite? Which one would you recommend? Like, if I were to order vodka at a bar, what would make me seem the coolest? Or like I knew what I was talking about, like this is the best, guys.
You know, it might be surprising, but actually at this time, my favorite is Tito's vodka,
Okay.
which is vodka of the United States. I think it's
Mm-hmm.
made in Texas. Amazing clear vodka, like a tear of an angel, I would say.
Like a gypsy tear?
Something
would you
like that.
say?
Gypsy tears make me cry too, but this
Yeah.
one doesn't make me cry. This one makes me happy. So I would say it's
Tito's
more-
vodka makes you happy.
Yeah, it makes me happy. You know.
Do you guys agree? Would you agree?
Yeah, I would. I just.
Dimitri, I guess.
Yeah, I haven't been drinking for a while.
Yeah.
Good for you. You're
have
probably
the
smarter
vodka
than most of
palate
us
to
here.
think
Are you a vodka drinker?
Sometimes.
Sometimes. This evening you are.
I am.
In your little goblet. Okay, I'm going to drink the tea because.
Would you like it in a fancy little?
No, I kind of want it in this. Which you
Awesome.
explained to me, these are special mugs that they hand out on local trains.
Yeah.
So that you don't have to hold the tea while it's still hot. You just place your little glass in it.
Pretty much.
And then people steal these.
Allegedly.
Allegedly.
Not very
You
nice
won't-
people.
I like that.
All mine.
How did you acquire this one?
Let's say I know a friend who knew
You
a friend.
have contacts, so you have contacts in the train industry.
Yep. Got friends in low places. I guess.
Don't we all?
Yep.
Well, okay, so I can't help but notice, you know, you two have been in the States you've all been here for a while, but you guys actually came from Russia. Jake, you came from Vietnam.
Yeah.
And you still very much, the two of you have the accents. Do you?
Sure, it will never go away.
It'll never go away. I mean, so how long have you been in the States now?
21 years.
21 years. And Max?
I've been in and out since '98, so I kind of travel back a bunch. I have family over there, so and I have family here now too. So, but this is my hometown, but I travel still a lot.
How did you end up of all the places in the States, how did you end up in Kansas City?
To me, it's a long story because my brother came here like 2 years before I came.
Okay.
And actually, after Soviet Union collapse, I ended up, living in Ukraine. Right now, it's like,
did?
yeah, it's independent state. So, and I came from Ukraine, so
Okay.
city of Kharkov, and yeah, so it wasn't a choice for me. It's just
That's where your brother was, and that made the most sense for you.
Yep, yeah. The
Okay.
family reunion, so we just came. Me, my wife, my son was born here, so.
Nice. And how about you? How did you end up choosing Kansas City or ending up in Kansas City?
It was kind of chosen for me.
Okay.
Actually, I was an exchange student when I came here first time, and I landed in Warsaw, Missouri. So shout out.
In Warsaw, Missouri.
Shout out to Warsaw, Missouri.
Okay.
If anybody's
Hey,
watching.
Warsaw. That's not a bad
Yeah.
place.
It's not a bad place, but it was a bit mysterious in the beginning. It was strange in the beginning because I come from a big city, and the town is pretty small. But I found a lot of good friends there, and kind of kept in touch. Then later on came back from Russia, moved to Sedalia, Missouri. So another shout out.
Another, yeah.
And then it was Warrensburg, and then it's Kansas City. And I love the city,
Wow.
and that's where the home is.
You've been kind of all over Missouri, really.
Pretty much, yeah.
And then Jake, you have a fascinating story because I know you were born in Vietnam, but you were actually brought over here in 1975 during
Yes.
Operation Baby Lift. So that was around, after the Vietnam War. A lot of orphans were brought to the States, but there was also some controversy around this because not necessarily all of the children were orphans. So that's kind of a little background on Operation Baby Lift. Tell us about what you remember from that time in your life, because you were about 5 years old, right?
Right. So I was 5 when I came over. My mom had given me up to my uncle first when I was about 3, and then he gave me back to her, and then she dropped me off at the orphanage. And about 3 is when my parents started the adoption process.
Okay.
Through, Holt International.
Okay.
And so it took about 2 years. And the scariest part for them was the first plane that took off actually crashed mid-takeoff.
Yeah.
But they didn't know what plane I was on.
Oh,
I happened to be
wow.
on the second plane that landed in Chicago. And the pilot carried me off the plane and gave me over to my parents. And I always tell everybody that I hit the jackpot because I have the greatest parents in the world. And when they took me back to Iowa City, where I grew up, my new brother and sister were waiting there for me with their big wheels, and then there was an empty big wheel for me.
Oh my God.
And so we got on that and
Rode off into the sunset? On your big wheels?
Yes.
Oh my God, that is so, I love hearing that.
Yeah.
Do you remember much about living in Vietnam at that
A
time?
little bit. So in '03, we went back during the anniversary of the Operation Baby Lift, and it was called the Motherland Tours, and everybody on there was a Vietnamese adoptee. Some came with their parents, some came with their spouses. And so we hit every orphanage that everybody was from. When it came to mine was no longer there, it was a restaurant. But we walked through the back of the restaurant, and in the back was the playground that I had played on. So I got on that and just started having these awesome flashbacks, just remembering being a kid playing out there with other kids. So that was very surreal for me. And then we went to the field where the first plane actually crashed. And one of the people on our trip was a baby who had survived that crash.
Wow.
So very emotional day for us, for sure.
I think the majority of baby passengers on that flight did not make it,
Correct.
right? So
Yeah.
that's incredible.
And since I was 5, I was considered one of the older kids, and they
Yeah.
didn't have enough nurses and volunteers on the plane over, so I was expected to help with the babies. And
You
on the
remember
flight
having
over.
like a job at 5 years old, trying to help watch over them.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's awesome.
That is incredible. I'm curious to know, since you all sort of came from different places, was coming to the States ever this American dream to you? Did you ever see it that way? And then you landed in Warsaw and you were like, what? Where am I?
The dream was very kind of unusual and surreal at the point when I ended up in Warsaw. But I remember in New York, though, it was very hot. It was so humid, and
That's the
it
first
felt
thing
like
that you notice.
banya, right? It felt
Yeah.
like sauna.
Like a
and-
sauna, yeah, that's
Well,
the
coming
first thing
from
that
Russia, of
No,
course, yeah.
So I was like, man, I don't think I can stay here, you know?
I'm going back.
I don't think my body is
But here
conditioned
he
for
is,
that, you know?
and here we are. We're
Yeah,
here.
but and then I also noticed another thing, which clouds hang very low here. The clouds hang very low.
And you
It's-
don't mean that figuratively. You
Yeah,
mean like
it was
literally the clouds
yeah,
hang
it's,
very low.
yeah, it might be because of humidity, I don't know. But it's just always been an intriguing country. Back in the 90s, we had a lot of media, a lot of movies coming in from United States as
We had
kind of
more
like...
stereotypes rather than we knew anything about United States. It was like
Yeah.
more like
What were the
Hollywood
American
movies. Yeah,
stereotypes?
yeah.
What do you remember any of them? Like what you thought you would experience
The
moving
movies
here?
like I don't know, like with the Eddie Murphy, for instance, you know,
Yeah.
or like Police
Yeah.
Academy, you know,
Yeah.
something like
Police
this.
Academy
you
is a
know.
great
Yeah, Police
one.
I
Academy.
think
Yeah.
everybody's walking around just cracking jokes and being hilarious all
And
the
have
time.
like occasional robots. on
It was
street.
different because, you know, when we came, it was like, I mean, where's all these big buildings? Because I grew up in a big city, Kharkov,
Yes.
you know, it's like 2.5 million population, and then all of a sudden I came and like, where's all these big buildings? You know, it's like in somewhere in a resort, you know,
Yeah.
like resort. It was
Yeah.
it was a bit of cultural shock.
I thought everybody knew karate too. Like after all the movies, like with Jean-Claude Van Damme.
All these action movies,
Yeah,
like everyone
you know.
has machine guns.
Yeah, you know,
no, far
robots,
from it.
machine guns. So,
And you had an interesting background too, because you actually kind of lived in a village.
I did, yeah.
At one point in Russia, where the food that was brought to your village was brought in by helicopter.
yeah, that's correct. I was born in a fisherman's village. My dad used to take months-long trips across the Japanese Sea. Actually, we were living in the Far East, and it was a small little village which was remote, and we had like one big mountain, and only once a month I think the helicopter would bring food. So my mom would make me ice cream out of sour cream and sugar, and she'd mix it in.
Just sour cream and sugar.
Yeah, which
She's
was
like,
really
it's
good.
ice
you know?
cream. Pretend it's ice cream.
Yeah. So when we moved to inland and I got a real ice cream, I was screaming on the street like, "Mom, you can eat the cone, ice cream cone." You know?
Hey, that's something new I found out about you.
Yeah, something new, you know. And we had Siberian tigers in that area too. And I remember when we were driving on the bus one time, I was a little kid. We saw a family of tigers crossing the road, and
Did they look hungry?
they looked very worn out. And you know, I mean, I was little, I was maybe 4, so I barely remember, but I do remember it stuck in my mind how dirty and hungry they looked, but they were very majestic, and everybody just kind of was in
Like
awe when
everyone
they
stops
crossed.
breathing for a
Yep.
minute to admire. I mean, that's so wild. So here you'll see deer.
Yep.
I don't know if that compares. I do appreciate that you have brought so much of, I think, both of your cultures. I think Vietnam as well is known very much for the hospitality of never showing up empty-handed. Do you feel like that has carried over into, you know, assimilating into the U.S. for you guys?
Yeah, I'd say so. And I mean, you see, we do have like a Russian community also here. I mean, and we try to group together with our friends. I mean, with the same roots, and that's
And you
pretty
guys
much.
have kids as well. So
Yep.
what do you kind of hope to impart to them from your backgrounds?
You know, mainly just to have a very wide view of the world. We want them to be able to, at least I want my kids to be able to form their opinion based on how they see the world through their own eyes rather than any kind of particular source. And I want them to be able to travel. I want them to be able to just enjoy life and enjoy being human, first of all.
I want him to find himself in this life and just find what he wants to do in this life.
Based on what's true to him.
And he's a KU student right now, and
I like it.
studying the
Computer engineering, right?
Yes, computer engineering.
Picked a
right now,
good school. Rock check.
So-
All right, well, thank you guys so much for being here. We do have one more song coming up. Don't go anywhere.
She always tells me that I am never yet.
Welcome back to Behind the Spotlight. We have been hanging out with Nuthatch 47, and we do have one more song. I do want to make sure that we kind of figure out, find out where we can find you online. So tell us where we can find your music.
So the band name is a little bit complex. It's Nuthatch 47. So if you type that in with the number 47, you should be able to find us.
Basically, he doesn't want to answer the question. He just wants you to Google it. You're on Reverb Nation.
We are on Reverb on Facebook.
You have a website as well.
We do, but the website is kind of, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. So find us on social media, Facebook, YouTube, we're there. So.
Nuthatch 47. And the last song that we have for you is actually called Moscow Mule, which kind of begs the question, where is your favorite place to get a Moscow Mule in Kansas City?
So there's one spot in Westport, right across from McCoy's, called Beer Kitchen.
Beer Kitchen! So Moscow Mules, Beer Kitchen,
Beer Kitchen.
gets your A+ approval.
As of a year ago.
As of a year
ago. So
ago.
hopefully I didn't change the recipe. So.
Okay, I'm going to have to give it a try.
Awesome.
All right, this is Nuthatch 47 with Moscow Mule. Take it away.
Let's go. Let's do this.
it and we all bleed our end. We live for the day, we breathe for the night. We deal with the devil and the deal is alright. Uno momento, sides are stole. You gotta know where else to go. Brass for the knuckle, parade for the view. I lost your view. Не верь и не бойся, не плачь, не проси, а будет пожар, меня первым выноси. Сегодня гуляем без Б и без меры, нас не догонят, мы пионеры. Uno momento, сядь за стол. You got to know where else to go. Brass for the knuckle, parade for the view. I must come you. Must come you. Solo. Uno momento, side за стол. You got to know where else to go. Brass for the knuckle, hooray for the fuel. I must go mule. Uno momento, side за стол.